Hey coaches. All right. So today I wanted to show you really quickly how to use Google Forms for your business just to streamline things, whether it's from Instagram or Facebook or just checking in with your challengers. So I'm going to go take a look here. I've got mine saved to desktop, but you can just do a search for Google Forms as well. And the easiest way I think to do this, if you have an upline or know of a coach that uses Google Forms, you like their form, you have a relationship with them, ask them if you can take a look at their form and make a copy of it and then customize it to fit you. Like I'm all about not recreating the wheel and, just doing it that way. That's the absolute easiest way to do it. For instance, like I'm just going to pull up this form. If I was to give you a copy of this form, because that's what I do for my downline. Like I will give them a copy of the ones I use. Like I don't give them my copy just in case they edit it by mistake. But these three dots up to the top, you just hit make a copy and it becomes your copy. You rename it, you send it to whatever file you want it, and it becomes yours. And then what you can do is you can then modify this text to, be in your voice and meet your needs, change the fonts, the colors, all that kind of thing, to what it is you want the form to say. So my opinion, that's the easiest way to do it. But you might not have that, or you might not want to do it. So I'm going to hit this little back arrow because that just gets us back to the form page. Okay, so let's start with a blank form. So I'm just going to go through the basics because honestly, I learned how to do this from playing around with it and from Google, right? We learn everything from Google. So let's say that we are going to run a free clean eating group. All right, so to save the form, we're just going to click up here and it's going to save the name of the form and the title of the form here. You can add a description right here if you would like. You don't have to. So you can add questions. Your questions are going to come over here to the right, where you can, add multiple choice questions, short answer, paragraph. You can go through the box and see, what types of questions you want to ask. They can upload files. You can add different things like that where they can upload their before and after photos and it gets directly put into your Google Drive. I love that feature. And then if you use Streak, it gets directly put into Streak. So pretty amazing. So yeah, different things here. If you want to require a question to be answered, click on it here. And then these three dots, if you want to add a description to your question, obviously that's where it goes. Go to section based on answer. That's a little more advanced, so you can play around on that one on your own. Of course, if you want to delete that question there, if you want to make a copy of that question, you do it right there. And then let's see what else is available. Oh yeah. So that's how you do the questions. Like you'll just add another question and you can keep adding as many questions like as you want. And so then there's different things like the titles. You can add a title and they're going to pop out a little bit more than the regular text. And I'll show you what that looks like here in just a little bit. And so you can also move your questions and titles around. So nothing's set in stone as far as the order goes. You can, push that around. You can, let's see over here. Yeah, you can add images. So if you click on image, you can search for images. Let's see here. We have any images. I don't know what that is. It's me and Keisha on a call. And input some images. You can input videos from YouTube. I do that a lot with new coaches, with new challengers. I put those in forms just to give them, some upfront information before we get started on things. I mean, there's just so much that you can put in a Google form. Now, I will say this, like the less, yeah, that's a picture of us on our Zoom call. So yeah, you can minimize that. You can add a title there. You can add, just like I said, you can add a video from YouTube. Okay. Same thing, you can title it, you can align it. Again, you can move it around. I feel like the shorter the form, the more basic, the more likely people are to come to it and complete it. Just my personal opinion on that. Oh yeah, if I add in their, let's get their name, ask for first and last, or add separate questions for first and last name, because if not, more than likely they're not going to give you all that information. Okay, so that's basically how you set it up. Very basic, very general. You can go through and look at, you know, some of the other questions that I ask and see how you want to set up your own form. Some of the settings over here, like this setting, I always collect email addresses. I get the receipts. I always send them to whoever's filling them out, and I do allow them to edit it after they submit it. As far as presentation goes, I don't show another link to submit another response, but I do say thank you for your interest and something like that. This isn't a quiz, so that doesn't apply to us. So I just hit save. I'll come back to the preview. Now, the color palette, obviously you can change the color. I do like to customize mine, and in Canva it is 800 by 200 in the pixels. If you want to use your own images, like if you have a themed boot camp that you do, or you know, you have a brand that you constantly use where you want people to recognize, that's where you can add that in as well. I think it does make it look a little bit more professional. So there you go for that. And then my favorite feature of how you get this actually sent to you through email is your add-on. So get the add-on email notification for forms and go through the steps to fill that out. And so you'll create that email notification. You'll plug in all the information, which is basically your name and your email. And this is all your information. And the email subject, you want to make sure that you recognize this, especially if you have different forms. I would not just do new response. Like for this one, I would do free clean eating response is what I would do, because when it comes through your email, that's what you're going to see. So you want to be able to recognize that as a different form than something else. And then continue, create the rule. And that way, every single time that a form comes in, you'll see that you have a form, but you'll also see all the answers and be able to respond to those. All right, so now you can view it to say, okay, this is how the people are actually going to see what it looks like. So that's what those titles, you know, the titles look a little different. It's what your picture would look like in your video and your, you know, your questions. And when you ask for responses, it always asks if you're a robot or not. So you can go back in and edit. Yes, I want to leave. And, you know, make those changes. So that's basically it. That was a very simplified version, I understand. But again, I learned most of this through just playing around with it and, you know, just looking on YouTube. So I really feel like these are a good way to streamline a lot of the processes that we do. So I hope that that helped.